former senator for Kaduna Central in northwestern Nigeria, joining us on the program. Okay, we stay in West Africa, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has concluded a two-day visit to Ghana, the first visit to the country by an Indian leader in 3 decades. The Prime Minister signed multiple agreements with the country's president, John Mahama, aimed at bolstering trade and commerce. The most significant deal yesterday would see India partner with Ghana to establish a vaccine manufacturing and production hub to produce their own vaccines for the continent. The Prime Minister also addressed Parliament and interacted with members of the Indian diaspora. Okay, let's get more insights on this visit from Komla Adom, BBC reporter in Accra, to talk to us a bit more about the significance of this visit. Komla, good to see you. Thank you for your time on this. India has relations with many African countries. Why do you think Ghana and Namibia feature on the agenda this time around?
Thank you, Waiga. For the Indian Prime Minister, in fact, from his own address, he says the relations between Ghana and India, which dates back to 7 decades ago, is something they are looking to strengthen. And in the past few years, we know that India has been a key supporter of some government infrastructure projects. For example, sometime last year, the government launched or commissioned the rail line between Tema and Impakadan, which is said to be a 97.7-kilometer railway stretch, which was sponsored or funded by the Indian Exim Bank. We know that sometime in 2008 as well, the Indian Exim Bank funded the construction of the seat of government, or the presidential palace, which currently sits the seat of government. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021 as well, we know that India gifted Ghana some 50,000 AstraZeneca vaccines to help fight the pandemic at the time. So it would appear that the relations between Ghana and India, which have been in existence for over 7 decades, is something authorities for both countries are looking to strengthen and foster beyond economic or social or cultural ties.
Do you have any sense of the trade numbers between these two countries? For example, are Ghanaian manufacturers selling goods or sending goods over to India? I mean, what sense do you have of those numbers?
In fact, if you look at the the Indian community in Ghana, let's begin from there. We understand that there are in excess of 16,000 of these Indian nationals who are in Ghana and doing various forms of businesses, which of course brings a lot of foreign earnings to the government of a day. We know that out of these 16,000 individuals, 3,000 of them have gained Ghanaian nationality. And these are people who operate mainly in the industries, that's the manufacturing sector, in the pharmaceutical sector, in the manufacture of agri-implements and equipment. And they are in the enclave known as the Tema industrial area here in Ghana. And they have employed so many young people. When you go to India as well, there is a significant, Ghanaian community that's also doing some business in terms of exports and exchange of materials such as minerals, gold, diamond, and then also we know that cocoa is also another key product that is being exchanged between Ghana and India. So if you look at the trade balance between Ghana and India, it appears that significantly these two countries contribute to each other's GDP in some way or form. However, when it comes to quantifying the exchanges that come through, it is something that authorities are unwilling to say, but they say that going forward with this relationship that is being deepened between India and Ghana and the visit of Prime Minister Modi, there will be a lot more, and government has promised to make the working environment even more freer for these individuals to come through and do business to employ the teeming unemployed youth of the country.
Komla, with that visit now having been concluded, what reactions are there from those you've spoken to?
Some of the people have been telling me that it is welcome that the Indian Prime Minister was in Ghana, knowing that they are responsible for a large chunk of the employment opportunities for Ghanaians in the industries that I mentioned earlier, in terms of pharmaceuticals, in terms of the manufacture of agri-implements, and other things in the industrial enclave. These businesses, owned and run by Indians, have employed many young people. So these young people say they invite a lot more of these Indians because unemployment, we know, is such a big challenge in Ghana and many African countries. And so for the Indian businesses and the business interests to keep coming to Ghana and establishing these businesses simply means that there will be a ripple effect on these young people, because they will have jobs to do, they'll have livelihoods to keep, and they can feed themselves and their families.
Welcome, Dom. Thank you so much for that analysis. Our reporter in Accra talking a little bit about the visit by the Indian